Excellencies, distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the 2023 World Emerging Security Forum hosted by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Korea. Before we begin, please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Jessica Singhi Lee, and I've been given the honor of being your MC for this very special and meaningful forum. Let me greet you all. Thank you. And today's forum will be held under the theme of Advancing Global Cooperation in Response to Security Threats in Cyberspace and New Technologies. And today, starting with the opening ceremony and the session 1 in the morning, we will have our second session and a special roundtable in the afternoon as well. So ladies and gentlemen, please be with us until the very end. Then without further ado, let us commence the opening ceremony of the 2023 World Emerging Security Forum with an opening remarks. First and foremost, please allow me to invite His Excellency Park Jin, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Korea. Your Excellency, please come up to the stage. And ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming him with a big round of applause.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Park Jin, Foreign Minister of the Republic of Korea. It is a great pleasure to welcome you all to the 2023 World Emerging Security Forum. We extend our sincere gratitude to the Center for New American Security, CNAS, and the Korea Advanced Institute of Science and Technology, KAIST. In particular, CNAS has emerged as one of the world's premier think tanks specialized in foreign policy and national security issues. Under the leadership of Mr. Richard Fontaine, CEO of CNAS, and Dr. Paul Shar, Executive Vice President and Director of Studies, the organization has demonstrated the exceptional policy insight, and their invaluable partnership has played a crucial role in convening this conference. Today, we are honored to be in the company of distinguished speakers, including the former Secretary General of the United Nations, Honorable Ban Ki-moon, who will give a keynote speech today, whose insights are indispensable as we confront the multifaceted security threats of our time. The world we face is strained by escalating geopolitical tensions that are reshaping the international order in unprecedented ways. And the breakneck pace of technological innovation adds new layers of complexity to this global security landscape. In fact, we stand at the threshold of another transformative era where emerging technologies, especially artificial intelligence, compel us to reconsider the traditional security paradigms. The exponential growth of AI and digital technology is unlocking unprecedented opportunities for growth and prosperity. Yet, this rapid technological evolution also presents formidable challenges that require strategic responses. The prospect of AI's militarization, the perils of widespread surveillance, and the disruptive potential of deep fakes pose significant threats. AI-driven social media platforms have become conduits for hate speech, misinformation, and conspiracy theories. This is eroding the tenets of democracy and inciting conflict and violence. Incidents of cyber security violations, data breaches, and attacks on critical infrastructure are also on the rise. The reported appropriation of $1.7 billion in cryptocurrency by North Korea last year to fund their nuclear aspirations underscores the urgency of our discussions. It is therefore critical that the governance of these emerging technologies evolves as swiftly as the technologies themselves. We must harness their potential while effectively managing the associated risks. This crucial mission demands an unprecedented level of international cooperation. Governments, the private sector, civil society, and international organizations must unite and forge a common path forward. Korea, aspiring to be a global pivotal state, or GPS in short, is committed to spearheading these essential efforts. The launch of the World Emerging Security Forum is a testament to our dedication. As a multi-stakeholder platform, the forum aims to raise awareness of emerging security threats and facilitate partnerships to address these challenges collectively. Looking ahead, Korea will host a series of conferences on AI next year. In collaboration with the United Kingdom, we will host a virtual global AI summit. Additionally, we will organize the second summit on responsible artificial intelligence in the military domain, or RE-AIM in short, in partnership with the Netherlands. Korea also has a capacity to lead the international discourse on AI, and Korea is ranked 6th in terms of global AI index. Korea is a third country with most AI-related patents, following the United States and China. Simultaneously, we are determined to bridge the digital divide, ensuring that the benefits of digital advancements reach all. Our plan to increase the official development assistance, ODA, by 40% increase next year underlines this commitment. We are also eager to work closely with the UN's High-Level Advisory Board on AI to develop a comprehensive AI governance framework. Ladies and gentlemen, the significance of the third forum today, further highlighted by Korea's upcoming tenure on the UN Security Council starting January 1st next year. During our term, we aim to integrate the multifaceted efforts of emerging technologies, including cyber threats, into the deliberation of the Council. And with that, I look forward to an enlightening discussion today. And once again, I thank you, Mr. Richard Fontaine, for contributing to this conference, and the special keynote speech by the former Secretary General Ban Ki-moon of the United Nations. Let me close by expressing my gratitude once again for your participation today, including SINAS and the members of the KAIST. Thank you. 감사합니다.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for your remarkable words, and thank you for hosting this meaningful gathering, WESF Forum. And ladies and gentlemen, let's give another big round of applause to our minister. Thank you. And next, Mr. Richard Fontaine, CEO of the Center for New American Society, or CNUS, will deliver his words of welcoming. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome him with a big round of applause.
Well, good morning and welcome, and thank you to Foreign Minister Pak Jin for his warm welcome here and for the partnership of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the government of Korea with CNAS in putting on this gathering today. I'm Richard Fontaine, the CEO of the Center for New American Security. We're an independent national security think tank in Washington, D.C. I want to thank Minister Park for his very thoughtful comments. The World Emerging Security Forum brings together a wide array of stakeholders, from academics to public servants, and it looks at essential emerging security threats in cyberspace and across a wide spectrum of new technologies. We're pleased to be here in Seoul. We're fortunate to have all of you joining us with us today. Today's world is undergoing a twin revolution. A geopolitical revolution is taking place, as we can see in land war in Europe, the rise of Chinese power, instability in the Middle East, and sharpened great power competition. A contest for the shape of tomorrow's world is taking place today, and the rules and the arrangements and the alignments of it are very much in flux. At the same time, there's a technological revolution taking place. Advances in generative AI, computing power, semiconductors, biotechnology, quantum computing, and more are fast, and they're multiplying. Where once technology represented one aspect of geopolitical competition, it now stands at the very heart of it. It's a combination of these two revolutions, one geopolitical and one technological, that will shape tomorrow's world. And it's critical that the United States and South Korea work together closely in the pursuit of a free, prosperous, and secure global order. The U.S. and South Korea in particular stand at an extraordinarily strong bilateral foundation. Over 70 years, the U.S.-ROK alliance has been tested, it's been proven, it serves the interests of both the Korean people and the American people. It's been called the linchpin of peace, stability, and prosperity on the Korean Peninsula and beyond. And today, Washington and Seoul are broadening their cooperation on technologies as wide-ranging as semiconductors, civil nuclear power, space development, and cyberspace. Just as the opportunities for bilateral cooperation on technology increase, however, as the foreign minister mentioned, so too do the risks. Digital tools are increasingly implicated in election interference. AI will play new and potentially destabilizing roles in information security and military technology. AI safety and stability remain a major challenge, as does the vulnerability of our open societies to cyber attacks. These challenges are global in scope, and they require a coordinated international response. First, as the upcoming 2024 elections in the United States highlight, and as the 2016 elections remind us, the problem of interference in democratic processes remains a real challenge. AI-powered tools will almost certainly exacerbate the threat, with methods like targeted messaging and fake AI-generated audio and visual content. For all its tremendous promise, new generative AI models may hand autocratic actors a new set of low-cost tools to exacerbate political polarization and destabilize democracies. Threats to democracy, though, are only one aspect of the emerging challenge. AI can be used to enhance weapon systems. The U.S. military itself increasingly uses AI to optimize everything from equipment maintenance to budgetary decisions. Ukraine's military uses AI to integrate target and object recognition with satellite imagery. Israel has used AI-driven technologies in the war against Hamas. China's military applications of AI include developing unmanned intelligent combat systems, enhancing battlefield situational awareness, and other practices. So the integration of artificial intelligence into operations is happening fast. Efforts to establish international norms for the use of AI in conflict is increasingly important. Finally, the theft of national security information remains a real problem. Just last month, the Idaho National Laboratory, a major U.S. security lab, confirmed that its personnel system was breached, with attackers leaking detailed data on thousands of the lab's employees. A cyber attack on the British Library in October raised concerns that the private sector IT infrastructure in the UK is increasingly vulnerable. Vulnerabilities in cyberspace are increasingly a weak point that can be exploited in interstate conflict and competition. These are just a few of the ways in which the evolving technology landscape is shaping national security, and key countries around the world are taking steps to respond and develop AI global governance. there's a long way to go. We have 50 states that have endorsed a political declaration on the use of artificial intelligence autonomy. At their trilateral meeting, the United States, South Korea, and Japan agreed on foreign information, to deal with foreign information manipulation threat. The European Union has provided a proposed legal framework. The United States executive branch has released an executive order on the regulation of AI. The US Congress at least is looking at things, as it kind of does. But there are numerous competing efforts to understanding AI governance. There's no agreement about how to define the problems of AI governance, much less how to pragmatically regulate AI. And as we move forward, it's important to ensure that AI is used in a way that protects individual privacy, human freedom, and human rights. That's why gatherings like today's are so important. They'll help us further inform policymakers around the world about the shared challenges in technology governance, identify the best ways to manage the security threats posed by emerging technologies, and allow us to examine methods for harnessing the tremendous power of these technologies for the good of our people while mitigating the risk of potential harms. Look forward to the discussions today. I thank Mr. Pak and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and all of you for joining us today, and look forward to the conversations on these vital issues. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Fontaine, for gracing us with your presence and with that meaningful words of welcoming as well. Ladies and gentlemen, before we move on to keynote speeches, now we will take a photo shoot with our esteemed guests and speakers from home and abroad. First, Minister Park, please come up to the stage, and Honorable Pan, please come up to the stage to join this photo shoot. And Mr. Fontaine, once again, we'd like to welcome you up on the stage. And our speakers from home and abroad, please come up to the stage. Our esteemed moderator and panelists, please come up to the stage to join this photo shoot. 네, 먼저 저희
I'd like to ask everyone to please come up to the stage, all our distinguished speakers and moderators.
Thank you. And now it is my great honor and privilege to introduce His Excellency Ban Ki-moon, 8th Secretary General of the United Nations, for his keynote speech. Your Excellency, please come up to the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming him with a big round of applause.
Good morning, Excellencies and ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to thank His Excellency Park Jin, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Republic of Korea, even though he has just left for his cabinet meeting, and Dr. Richard Fontaine, CEO of the Center for New American Security, SINA, Mr. Dan Smith, Director of the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, SIPRI, Mr. Xue Lan, Dean of Schwarzman College and Director of the Institute for AI International Governance at Tsinghua University, and Excellencies, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. Let me first extend my sincere congratulations on the timely organization of the Third World Emerging Security Forum and express my deep thanks for inviting me. I am privileged to join such distinguished speakers who are making great efforts to shape the future of our security and stability. As former Secretary General of the United Nations, I have been a strong proponent of the leveraging technology to achieve the landmark UN Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, and the progress in technologies since then has nothing been short of revolutionary. Artificial intelligence, AI, Internet of Things, IoT, and blockchain are changing human life in unprecedented ways. Yet, these same technologies also bring formidable challenges to global peace and security. Basically, emerging technologies, particularly AI, the internet, the drones, are closely interconnected. Among them, the internet is practically omnipresent, which results in quasi-permanent cyber attacks anytime, any place. As Vice Chair of the Elders, an organization established by Nelson Mandela and composed of leaders, global leaders and Nobel Peace Laureate, I am deeply concerned about the existential threat posed by AI. Indeed, experts are sounding continuous alarms that without proper oversight and international regulations, AI could unleash catastrophes rivaling nuclear war, pandemics, as well as the accelerating climate crisis. As such, we must unite to harness the full potential of these technologies while safeguarding ourselves against threats and risks. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, on the occasion of the AI seminar chaired by His Excellency Minister Park Jin, July this year, I expressed my views on how to respond to the AI issues with the three keywords. First, practical approach. Second, multi-stakeholder participation. And third, human decision. In view of the similar nature of new technologies, I now propose the following three key actions forward. The first, we must establish stronger international governance for artificial intelligence. The perils of unregulated AI are too great to leave it to self-regulation. A liberal regulatory approach may have facilitated the development of new technologies thus far, but more concrete action should be taken without further delay. The elders, as I said, have called for a new global architecture for AI, drawing on the previous models of nuclear non-proliferation treaty like NPT and the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA. This guardrail must ensure that AI complies with international norms, including human rights treaties. I take this opportunity to commend UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres for launching multi-stakeholder advisory body on AI. This initiative makes a significant step toward comprehensive governance. As such, I look forward to productive recommendations of this board. Second, the digital divide demands immediate action. The democratization of technologies is critical. It must be a force to empower and unite, not divide and marginalize. With nearly half of the world's population still without internet access, it is our shared responsibility to close this gap. And this issue is especially clear to my heart. While serving as a Secretary General of the United Nations, my motto was to be a voice of the voiceless people. Today, I hereby call on technically advanced countries to support enhanced capacity building for all in order to leave no one behind. Third, we must promote a global dialogue that brings together multi-stakeholders, including governments, the private sector, civil society, and academia, to shape effective policies for new technologies. Engaging the youth, the architects of our digital future, is also critical. Their participation will ensure that technologies support humanity without compromising our security. The youth, after all, is our succeeding generations who will lead this planet Earth, science and technology and prosperity. So we should empower them. The United Nations, which is the only global body that has convening power, should play a key role in bringing together these diverse ideas. I expect that the World Emerging Security Forum also makes a substantive contribution as a global multi-stakeholder platform. In addition, I look forward to this forum's continued leadership in rallying diverse stakeholders towards sustainable development as well as peace and security. Excellencies, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, let us expand global cooperation and partnership to leverage the digital revolution in advancing the Sustainable Development Goals, thus paving the way toward a safer, more peaceful, and more prosperous world for all. I thank you. 감사합니다.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, thank you for that warm words. And as he just mentioned, ladies and gentlemen, we are here to raise awareness of emerging security threats and to facilitate our global cooperation to address these challenges. Ladies and gentlemen, we look forward to your active conversation and participation. And next, we would like to share a meaningful opening video of the 2023 WESF. Please draw your attention to the screen.
Those are all borderless risks whose damage has the potential to spread fast and wide, regardless of where they originate.
As new technologies develop, the world is set to grapple with more unexpected security challenges in the future.
The fact that all of us who use cyberspace are at risk of becoming victims of malicious cyber activities.
The world already has the resources, technology, and capacity to respond effectively. The question is how to mobilize and coordinate such resources to reach those most in need.
Please give a big round of applause to the successful hosting of the World Emerging Security Forum. Thank you once again for your cooperation and participation. And now we will continue with some meaningful words. Next, please allow me to introduce Professor Lee Kwang-hyung, President of the Korea Advanced Institute of Science and Technology. He has sent us a video of his welcoming remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome him on the screen.
Good morning. This is Kwang-hyung Lee, the President of KAIST. I sincerely congratulate the Ministry of Foreign Affairs hosting the 2023 World Emerging Security Forum with the Center of New American Security and KAIST. Thank you for the distinguished experts and guests, including Minister of Foreign Affairs of Republic of Korea, Park Jin, CEO of the Center for New American Security, Richard Fontaine, and the 8th UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon to join the forum today. In this year's forum, we will discuss various security issues resulting from the rapid development of new technologies such as AI, quantum computing, semiconductors, robots, and closely discuss global cooperation. I hope through this event, various suggestions and strategies will be presented for the possible use of new technologies in the field of emerging security. Congratulations once again on hosting the World Emerging Security Forum. And I would like to express my deepest gratitude to the guests and audience who attend today despite their busy schedules. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. With that, there will be videos of keynote speech from distinguished guests abroad.
Good morning, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kono Taro, Minister for Cybersecurity. I am truly honored to address my opening remarks in the Third World Emerging Security Forum. The progress of science and technology has left a significant impact on people's lives, society, and global security. It used to be that technologies developed for military use were eventually released for civilian usage and brought about significant impact on our daily life. Think about the internet and GPS. But recently, the boundaries between military and non-military have become blurred even further, and breakthroughs in civilian-driven technologies such as cyber, AI, and quantum have greatly influenced national security. The cyber domain has undergone significant changes, presenting both opportunities and risks. And cyber attacks are becoming increasingly sophisticated and advanced. AI and quantum technology also have a significant impact on cyberspace. When we think about these circumstances, the main topic of this forum, advancing global cooperation in response to security threats in cyberspace and new technologies, is very timely. It is meaningful to discuss and exchange perspectives on cyber-related issues. We are now faced with serious cybersecurity challenge in severe geopolitical situations. One of the challenges we are confronted with is Russia's aggression against Ukraine. We have learned a lot of lessons from this aggression. Let me lay out several crucial points. Cyber attackers have the potential to inflict significant consequences on government agencies and critical infrastructure. During a crisis, cyber attackers may conduct cyber operations with physical attacks. Neighboring countries can be targeted by cyber attacks, and cyber attacks may also be launched against countries and individuals supporting victim countries. The lesson tells us the importance for defending side to ensure a seamless response across all stages, spanning from peacetime to gray zone situations and kinetic warfare. It is necessary to collaborate with like-minded countries and technology companies to build the defense. We also need to look into North Korea's cyber activities. They may be conducting cyber attacks to steal sensitive information as well. But North Korea allocates human resources and military budget to build up of their cyber capabilities. When we think about how North Korea can launch ballistic missiles in an unprecedented manner and frequency, it is essential to take steps to cut off their cyber activities, because that is the source of funding for its nuclear and missile development. Eventually, we will see some rogue and disruptive nations investing in cyber warfare, including disinformation, rather than traditional nuclear, biological, or chemical warfare, because it is difficult to attribute, it is cheap, and it is difficult for the targeted nations to determine the level of retaliation. Moreover, the cost of cyber warfare will be less and less as generative AI technology advances. It is difficult to regulate the emerging technology completely with some kind of international convention or treaty. Even if the like-minded countries have agreed to regulate, there will be some dictatorships which refuse to renounce the convenient technology. When we consider today's topic, advancing global cooperation in response to security threats in cyberspace and new technologies, how can we contribute to ensure secure and stable use of cyberspace and new technologies on a global scale? I would like to talk about recent development of cybersecurity in Japan. Our national security strategy in December last year led to major policy shifts in cybersecurity. We will introduce the notion of active cyber defense and build the necessary capability to realize it. We will restructure the National Center for Incident Readiness and Strategy for Cybersecurity, or NISC, to coordinate cybersecurity policies of the government. We will actively promote global cooperation on cybersecurity among the like-minded countries and trying to reach out to the global south. In conclusion, I hope that this conference will provide an opportunity for countries to work together to address security threats in cyberspace and new technologies. Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. First of all, allow me to thank you for the opportunity to share my thoughts during this event, which addresses the most pressing issues of our times, and by bringing together stakeholders from around the world and from different sectors, I think creates the right space to grow ideas, solutions for tackling these pressing issues. Speaking of challenges, unprecedented in complexity and potential to disrupt the world order, the responses themselves can only be global and unprecedented. Deep divisions in societies around the world, open wars on two continents, overt provocations of the systems of norms and institutions established after World War II, all these are new realities in need of solutions. And these solutions must be crafted jointly, not by one jurisdiction alone. Whatever differences we might have among global partners, economical, historical, or political, we can turn and we must turn them into strengths and create synergies, as long as we share a set of values based on democracy and the respect for a rules-based international order. Now, zooming on the region, it is needless to say how important the Indo-Pacific in the current state of world affairs is, and not just for the United States or the countries in the region, but also for us here in the European Union. We want a free, open, and stable Indo-Pacific. We want to see economies and trade growing unhindered, and we want to see all regional actors committed to guarantee that this remains the case. For good reasons, we have developed a reserve to relying on third countries when it comes to our stability and safety, be it of an economic nature or security. Particularly when such dependencies have been deliberately grown and now deliberately employed to advance not only economic, but also geostrategic interests. China has the ambition to become a superpower, including militarily, and for that it has chosen what rules to follow and which not, and how to use its quasi-monopolies on certain production or supply chains to determine the behavior of others. I believe that like-minded partners around the world, and certainly those in the Indo-Pacific, should have an interest in working together to counter any unfair advantage that China wishes to leverage at the expense of our values or the interests of our citizens. We have a duty towards our societies, we have a duty towards our markets, and we have a duty to the technologies that underpin both markets and societies. Moving now to the topic of technologies, we cannot afford not to rally around a joint and standardized approach towards tech regulation, towards cybersecurity and joint R&D. And the area of security and defense should be on top of the list. We have the same goals, supported by the same principles and values. There is no reason why we should not develop joint standards on AI, for example, and work towards harmonizing AI global governance. I have chaired AIDA, the special committee of the European Parliament on artificial intelligence, and I am now the lead negotiator for the AI Act on behalf of the European Parliament. But I always said that if we, Europeans, count solely on the Brussels effect when it comes to regulating AI, we'd be making a big mistake. We must seek global convergence. We must be open to global collaboration. And frameworks such as the one you put together today are important because they galvanize the energy towards such objective and also connects the dots between technology and security, for example, two elements likely to drive the global agenda in the future. In the dawn of the new technological revolution and the diversification of security threats, democratic countries must team up and build a coalition to make sure that technology and AI remain servants of human security. There should be no contest of AI governance models, at least not among like-minded. We must unlearn everything we know about traditional power competition and understand the cross-border nature of this new unfolding technology. AI poses both a huge risk and a huge opportunity. Making full use of this amazing technology while minimizing the harm is the art that we should learn to master together. Not just together as like-minded governments, as I was saying earlier, but also together with the industry. Because ultimately, they, the industry, also become increasingly relevant and active in the geopolitical power game. Look only at Starlink as an example of what that means. And also together with our civil societies, because we now see how more and more of our citizens are growing legitimately concerned about the impact of artificial intelligence on their lives. Out of the myriads of ways in which AI could be a major security risk with the potential to endanger societies, both in its civil and military use, I will only stop at two. First, I would mention cybersecurity. AI can reinforce the ways we protect data or build resilience of systems and networks, but equally, AI can optimize the tools used to penetrate them. Data breaches can affect millions of people, undermining the trust of citizens in the ability of states to protect them. AI regulation, therefore, should be deeply interlinked with cybersecurity measures. A hybrid model of cooperation and responsibility sharing is needed, where governments, companies, and civil society have a shared stake. When it comes to the malicious actors, whether governments or non-state, we must invest in deterrence and response capabilities, and it all starts with the technology underpinning such capabilities. We must secure our own investments in this regard and equally be clear-eyed about China's intent in developing an upper hand in critical tech, such as quantum, which can easily break any encryption once the maturity of the technology is achieved. Moving to the second area of risks, AI is an enabler of a new military competition. We are moving from traditional kinetic power to smart power, from mighty and expensive weapon systems to small and consumable but intelligent and autonomous systems. In this new era of high-tech weapon systems, pooling resources among allies is again fundamental, just as it is fundamental to ensure a proper level of interoperability. Authoritarian regimes, as we see now more and more, are already exchanging know-how, while liberal democracies are sometimes getting lost in unfruitful debates and lack of trust. To conclude, in this new realm of generative technology, balancing intergovernmental cooperation, dialogue between industries and regulators, investment in economic and technological security, all this is a continuous process, and yes, it requires constant effort. But unless we create a democratic front and work together on these issues, we put at risk our livelihood and the future of the societies that we built in hundreds of years. We need to move forward, we need to take risks, we need to be bold and visionary simply because we cannot afford any other way. Thank you very much, and I wish you an interesting conference.
Thank you very much for that insightful keynote speech. We watched two meaningful keynote speeches. First video was delivered by His Excellency Kono Taro, Minister of Digital Affairs of Japan, and the video we just saw together was His Excellency Dragos Tudorace's meaningful video. And next, ladies and gentlemen, we're joined by Dr. Ian Bremer, President and founder of Eurasia Group and G0 Media, and he also sent us his video message. Please draw your attention to the screen.
Hello, and thank you for inviting me to address you at the World Emerging Security Forum. I want to start by saying that I am an enthusiast for artificial intelligence and what it will mean, this extraordinary and groundbreaking technology, for transforming the lives and livelihoods of 8 billion plus people on the planet and making almost every sector of the economy so much more efficient and productive. So I come to this conversation as someone who wants more artificial intelligence, wants to see more talent applied to it, more investment applied to it. I want it to succeed for all of us. But I am also very deeply concerned about the negative externalities. I'm an American, and we're great at capitalism when we invest our talents and our money to help ensure that companies, especially our companies, are successful and that everybody that's involved gets really rich in the process. But a little secret is that we are also committed socialists when it comes to losses, because nobody wants to pay for them personally. You've got to socialize the losses, just like we privatize the gains. And we saw this with globalization, as we drive a process of incredible global enrichment, but the negative externalities, like lots of carbon into the atmosphere and lots of people that lose their jobs, nobody wants to pay for that. Let the kids pay for it. Let society as a whole pay for it. That can be taxation. That's going to be true of artificial intelligence, but much more dangerous than the first period of globalization. It's equally systemic, but it's also much, much faster. And there are therefore a lot more actors and points of failure that are going to be involved and that we're vulnerable to in the process. What specifically am I worried about? I'd say 4 big things. And first, the easy ones, 2 things that you're already talking about quite a bit in this meeting. Jobs and livelihood of human beings. Every time there's a new explosion of technology, we always worry about the people that are in existing jobs that are going to be displaced. And we believe and hope that new jobs and new opportunities and new wealth will mean better things for society as a whole, but that takes time, there's a lag, and who takes care of all the people that are displaced? And what happens when those people are angry, and they're angry politically, and they're angry socially, and they change their societies and their political systems in ways that disrupt our efforts to improve the human condition. The better we can identify all of those disruptions early, and that we can orient resources to try to minimize that damage, the better off we'll all be. Secondly, and also very widely known, but increasingly needs to be widely understood, is the proliferation of dangerous tools in the hands of bad actors. We know that everybody that codes out there wouldn't dream of coding without AI because the tools are so effective. Well, I'm sure that's true of everybody that's engaged in criminal cyber activity too, not to mention the development of bioweapons or lethal autonomous drones and the like. Clearly, this is not just a matter of nuclear weapons with a few countries that could become a few more. This is anybody with AI and the ability to program can be a systemic challenge within the matter of a few years. So we need different kinds of architecture institutionally and regulations, and yes, probably surveillance that will allow us to maintain security while still having a system that is stable and vibrant. But the 2 things that worry me maybe systemically the most about AI are the ones that are harder to get our hands around because they're so much more structural. They're harder to measure. They're harder to identify. One is the big question about whether or not democracies and well-regulated, competitive, free market economies will still function and function the most effectively in an AI-empowered era. We know about how AI can help drive disinformation, but also the concentration of wealth and power in a technopolar world where technology companies increasingly have sovereignty over economic and social and political and security trends in the digital world. It may well be that authoritarian and state-planned economies or monopoly-run oligopolies that used to be democracies function the most effectively in a surveillance environment where artificial intelligence is a dominant driver of wealth, productivity, and power. And the answer to that question, I hope that's not true, but it might be true. And the answer to that question is not decades away, it's years away. It's 1 or 2 electoral cycles. I'm very deeply concerned that the nature of our newest technological tools might make our existing political systems and the ones that we value the most, that are most important to valuing human beings, very, very vulnerable, possibly even obsolete. Finally, dehumanization. I worry more about people being programmed by algorithms than I am about people's jobs being taken away by artificial intelligence. I'm less worried about computers becoming like human beings, and I'm more worried about human beings becoming like computers. As we spend so much of our times disintermediated by our smart devices, our phones, by our computers and our tablets, by the algorithms that run on those programs and that are driven for profit or political stability and not for human development and well-being. And particularly as our children are exposed to those devices and those algorithms, it's driving their behavior. And it's very hard to replicate a human being in real life. It's very easy to replicate one when they're not acting like human beings, when the people are acting like computers, when they're spending their time with inputs and interactions through those devices, through social media, through those platforms. And that's where we're heading faster, perhaps even than the development of artificial intelligence itself. I think that we are valuable by growing up through nature and nurture, through our genetics, through our families, through our communities. I don't yet know what happens when people develop through algorithm. And right now we are testing those algorithms real time on our societies without any understanding of the consequences. This is the area of artificial intelligence that most desperately requires better understanding, clearer regulation, and more power that is shared not just by the companies and the individuals that control these algorithms, but by society more broadly. I hope that's an issue that you'll be able to take up in your meeting. I wish you success for it, and I look forward to having a chance to chat with you in person. Thank you so much.
Please give a big round of applause. Thank you. Thank you to Dr. Bremer for sharing with us his knowledge and lessons via video. And next, we're joined by Sir John Sawyers, President of Newbridge Advisory. Once again, please welcome him onto the screen.
Good afternoon to all of you in Seoul. I apologize for not being with you in person, but I think this is a very important gathering to address the issues of artificial intelligence and technical security with all the new technologies that are being developed and the impact of them for our own national security. We've been dealing with issues like cyber threats for a good number of years now, but they continue to be potentially very serious indeed, and not just a continuing irritation in our lives. And I think as the developments on artificial intelligence continue to become very significant in terms of the moves towards artificial general intelligence, I think the international efforts which South Korea is leading is playing an increasingly important part for global security in the years ahead. We had in the UK at Bletchley Park the first artificial intelligence summit just a month ago, and that adopted a leaders' declaration setting out a determination to cooperate in addressing the major risks, the frontier risks that we face, whether it's about autonomous weaponry or the development of new biotoxins or other developments that would take the decisions about our future out of our own hands and put them into the hands of technology. And it was an important first step in creating a global dialogue and establishing an Artificial Intelligence Safety Institute. And this work will be taken forward at the second AI Summit to be hosted by the Republic of Korea during in the middle of 2024. I think that's an important step and a sign of the cooperation between the UK and the Republic of Korea on these issues. I think it also coincides with the Republic of Korea's membership of the Security Council. I used to be the UK's ambassador on the Security Council. I know the importance and the potentials of a Security Council to play an important role in setting out a legal framework with authority across the globe on new and emerging risks. And I think the Republic of Korea's participation in and membership of the Security Council will be a big opportunity there. Obviously, the nature of the risks continues to evolve. We in the UK certainly welcome the efforts that the administration in Washington and the leadership in Beijing have made to stabilize the relationship between the United States and the People's Republic of China. I think the summit between President Biden and President Xi Jinping last month in San Francisco was an important culmination of efforts to establish lines of dialogue and cooperation. But we shouldn't delude ourselves that things are going to be all easy in that relationship. There's going to be intense competition in the years ahead, above all in the technology domain. And both the United States and China are preparing to invest heavily in the new technologies, such as artificial intelligence, such as quantum computing, in order to gain a strategic advantage. I think in that sense, it was particularly important that China was involved in the Bletchley Park Summit, because it creates a dialogue across the world, even if cooperation on the more technical side of things is only going to be possible among like-minded countries. It's not just the competition between China and the United States and Europe. We also face in Europe a very serious security threat following the Russian invasion of Ukraine. And there, technology like electronic warfare, drone technology, and cyber attacks are playing an important part in this rather 20th century conflict at one level, but with 21st century dimensions to it. And I think the importance of creating an international understanding about how these new technologies are used in conflict, I think, is important, and it's equally important that we develop these technologies so we can defend ourselves when hostile powers like Russia decide to use it against democratic countries like Ukraine. So all in all, this is a very topical and essential subject to be addressed. As I say, I'm sorry I can't be with you, but I think you have an excellent lineup, and this will be superb preparation both for South Korea's membership of the UN Security Council over the coming 2 years, and the second AI Summit, which you'll be hosting next summer. So thank you very much for your participation and for hearing me make this brief introduction.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Next, please allow me to introduce Professor Xie Lan, Dean of the Schwarzman College and Dean of Institute for AI International Governance of Tsinghua University. He is joining us here at the site to deliver his words of a keynote speech. So now, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming him with a big round of applause.
Thank you, Ms. Chair. Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs Park Kim, Director of the Center for New American Security, Richard Fontaine, Ace UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, distinguished guests and colleagues, good morning. I'm honored to stand here today at the forefront of a remarkable era where innovative breakthroughs meets emerging risks. This forum, a gathering of brilliant minds, focused on the theme advancing global cooperation in response to security threats in cyberspace and new technologies, and tackling a subject of both urgent necessity and significant importance. It's very, very timely. First, I would like to extend my heartfelt congratulations to the organizers of this forum. Your dedication is commendable to bringing together leading minds from diverse sectors, academia, private sector, and government, and from different parts of the world, including developed and developing countries. This gathering underlines the critical role of interdisciplinary and cross-border collaboration in cybersecurity and AI governance. Such partnerships are pivotal in shaping a future where emerging technologies are not only advanced, but also secure and beneficial for humanity. Navigating the intricate landscape of emerging technologies such as AI, it is crucial to recognize the interplay between development and governance. While AI's technological advancements promise substantial benefits, overlook the aspects of governance can lead to significant risks. Therefore, our approach must be one of vigilant progression, actively identifying potential threats and mitigating them as we champion the development of emerging technologies such as AI. Yet, our approach to governance should be both measured and strategic. Overregulation or inappropriate governance strategies risk stifling the nascent potential of emerging technology applications. We're tasked with finding a balanced approach where the development and governance of emerging technologies coexist in a harmonious and productive relationship. This balance is key to ensuring that our technological progress is both safe and constructive. And in the earlier remarks, Secretary General Ban Ki-moon made the 3 proposals, which actually are excellent example in this regard. There were also some comments, I think, in earlier remarks related to some comments and speculations on China, on China's intention and actions. I think, of course, there are too many of those, I think, that to comment here, but I just want to say that China shares the concerns on the risks of AI and the emerging technologies, and China stands ready to contribute to the global governance of emerging technologies, such as AI, in ways that yield most benefits. China has taken an adaptive approach in balancing AI's development and governance. Over the years, China has been trying to combine top-down governance principles with bottom-up, domain-specific regulations in an agile manner in order to address the pacing problems in governing emerging technologies. China's experience could serve as useful lessons to be shared with international colleagues. Of course, China is also eager to learn experiences from other countries. To conclude, let me thank the organizers once again for the opportunity to be part of this exciting event. Our collective expertise and insights are invaluable in this endeavor. Let us use this forum as a catalyst for innovative ideas, practical solutions, and a symbol of our collective commitment to a responsible and secure future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor Xue Lan, for your support and leadership. And next, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to welcome Dr. Dan Smith, Director of the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, or SIPRI, will be delivering his keynote speech. Please join me in welcoming him with a big round of applause.
Thank you very much. And I'd like to start, of course, by taking this opportunity, Excellencies and ladies and gentlemen, to thank the organizers of this conference, the Ministry and the Center for New American Security, for putting on this event. I guess this is the 3rd iteration of the World Emerging Security Forum, and it seems to become bigger and more important each year. And that reflects what I think all speakers have so far been talking about, which is the changing landscape of security that's so sharply influenced by developments in cyber and related technologies. Cyberspace is a realm in itself, where we see the back and forth of contention between great powers, and of course we also see, as has also already been pointed out, a criminal space, where criminal activities can be undertaken, and it's a space where you get a crossover, linkage between both criminal and interstate hostile activities. The cyber is in itself a realm by itself, but it's also part of the technological suite in today's military and security apparatus. I think comments which have been made about the war in Ukraine show that. This is a war which on the one hand is carried out by means that a few years ago would have seemed like science fiction. Yet it's also a war that would have been recognized by First World War generals over a century ago. So cyberspace is both its own problem, it's also part of a larger set of issues. And I think it's also worth and important to reflect on the fact that developments in cyber technologies and artificial intelligence are not the only aspects of emerging military technologies today about which we have strategic concerns. For example, just to take one example, the development of hypersonic technologies. And a further dimension of the issue of cyberspace is that, of course, it's a part of our daily life. We are extraordinarily reliant and dependent upon cyberspace functioning smoothly. At the same time, while cyberspace is a virtual space, it also has a real presence. It's there present in outer space. It's there present under the sea. It's there present in land-based installations. We should not think about cyberspace as simply somewhere which is virtual, in some sense untouchable. It's all too physical and all too vulnerable as well. The upshot is that we cannot be thinking about cyber and IT developments without thinking about security, and we cannot be thinking about security in today's world without thinking about what is happening in cyberspace. But I want also to emphasize, as I think some speakers have also touched on, that there are a number of opportunities. My institute will shortly be bringing out a report on the relationship between artificial intelligence and measures for getting to grips with the really serious problems that climate change is imposing upon so many countries. The use of artificial intelligence as a part of the means of tracking the dissemination of small arms throughout the world has also been discussed. And of course, artificial intelligence is itself a part of what could help keep cyberspace safe for all of us. There's been so much change in the cyberspace, in our daily lives, in the security world, and yet it's still changing so fast. We're still finding our way. It's both been an established part of our realities for 4 decades, and yet it is also still emerging. And that is why the World Emerging Security Forum is so important. I'm really looking forward to the rest of the discussion, and once again, let me repeat my congratulations to the organizers for putting it on. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dan Smith, for your meaningful and insightful words for a more responsible and a safer world. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, last but not least, we'd like to invite 2 more keynote speakers. A first keynote speaker that we will meet soon via video is UNESCO's Assistant Director General for Social and Human Sciences, Gabriela Ramos. And next, we will be joined by Professor Emeritus Gary Marcus, Psychology and Neuroscience of New York University. So they have also sent us their pre-recorded videos. Please draw your attention to the screen.
Dear ministers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your invitation. In the recent years, and due to the rapid technological advancement and growth in the use of foundational models, security threats and cyber attacks are on the rise. Nevertheless, we must not forget that many of these risks discussed in the context of AI and generative AI, including security, of course, have been present in our daily life for quite a while, and they are already impacting us. The rise of risks related to safety and security created a sense of urgency and triggered governments to be more active on the governance front. The UK AI Summit, the Safety Summit, led to the Bletchley Declaration, the executive order signed by President Biden, for example, the European Union AI Acts, and the non-binding agreement on keeping AI secure by design that 18 countries signed on to are just few recent examples. And in order to balance between the risk and benefits, at UNESCO, our work is focusing on the recommendation on the ethics of artificial intelligence that bounds 194 member states. As the recommendation is designed to stand the test of time because it already addresses various risks associated with frontier artificial intelligence. Concrete solutions are also provided to key stakeholders. And I would like now to give you some few examples to nurture the debate. On cybersecurity, for example, the AI language models that power chatbots such as ChatGPT, Bard, or the Bing produce text that reads like something written by a human. They follow instructions or prompts from the user and then they generate a sentence by predicting, on the basis of their training data, the word that most likely follows each previous word. But the very thing that makes these models so good, the fact that they can follow instruction and interact, also make them vulnerable to being misused. In addition, integrating foundational models into products is very risky, allowing the internet to be ChatGPT eyes and ears and making the chatbot extremely vulnerable to attacks because virtual assistants are more prone to manipulation. The recommendation puts a strong emphasis on testing, auditing, and applying impact assessment in order to address related risk ex ante before the developments reach the markets. We also have a chapter on responsibility and accountability. The terms of use of foundational models are often designed in a manner that shields the companies behind the tools from any responsibility for the accuracy and reliability of their outputs. This delegation of responsibility is blind to the structural effects of foundational models and obscures the responsibilities of companies developing generative AI products. The recommendation in this sense states that the ethical responsibility and liability for the decisions and actions based in any way on an AI system should always ultimately be attributable to a human. The principle of awareness and literacy, also anchored in the recommendation, stresses the need for publicly accessible and human-readable information both about the terms of reference and general understanding of AI technologies, as well as about the value of data, including via ethics training. On the question of human oversight and legal personality, this is a very important question on whether these tools can be legally or morally considered authors or non-authors. On this point, the recommendation states unequivocally that AI systems should not be given legal personality themselves, because this will break the human-centered decisions that we spoke before in the first point. Now, there is also this issue of the convergence of emerging technologies, such as the intersection of artificial intelligence and neurotechnology, that can also put safety risk. For example, in terms of brain-computer interfaces, where AI is used to interpret neural science, to control external devices, a malicious actor could potentially hack the system, leading to severe consequences like the loss of control of a prosthetic limb or unauthorized access to personal thoughts. A recent report of UNESCO illustrated how neurotechnology interacts with other technological trajectories, including especially AI. To conclude, safety and security are indeed becoming more prominent, but there are solutions that are already in place, and we need to pursue them. The UNESCO recommendation contributes to this. It really includes good safeguards to ensure that the AI systems are developed and implemented ethically. But we need to continue learning, understanding, seeing what are the challenges, maximizing the benefits, developing the governance tools, and then to ensure that these technologies deliver for good.
Hi, my name is Gary Marcus, and I'm an entrepreneur and a scientist. I'm very honored that you've had me here today. I wish I could be there in person. Cybersecurity is an incredibly important question, and I'm glad to give you a few minutes of my thoughts on it. I'll be talking about 6 things that I think everybody thinking about AI policy, especially cybersecurity, should know. The AI that we have right now is not the AI that we should want. It's truth mixed together with obvious nonsense in completely fluent paragraphs. For example, over here, which weighs more, 1 kilogram of bricks or 2 kilograms of feathers? GPT will give you a long, interesting answer and then end up. So in a vacuum, 1 kilogram of bricks and 2 kilograms of feathers would weigh the same. But in air, 2 kilograms of feathers would weigh slightly more than 1 kilogram of bricks. Depending on the wording, any given model might or might not get questions like that correct on any given day. We just can't really count on this kind of stuff. The problem is not just that these systems are unreliable. Someone actually recently analyzed these systems as if they were humans and said if they were, it would be as if they're disconnected from reality, overly concerned with others' opinions, narcissistic. If their MMPI scores were taken seriously, the model would be considered to be severely psychopathic. We should really be worried about how much trust we're putting in these systems. Unstable AI, unanchored in reality, that hallucinates so often can bring many risks, like wholesale disinformation, market manipulation, accidental misinformation and defamation, voice faking scams, wholesale cybercrime, bias, problems with employment, over-application of unreliable systems, what we might call runaway AI to mission-critical sensitive systems, misalignment, and so forth. And the truth is, new models are not necessarily making things better. For example, GPT-4 creates more misinformation than GPT-3. The third thing that we have to recognize is that the interests of technologists don't necessarily align with the interests of humanity. There was a funny cartoon in The Economist right after the AI Safety Summit where all the participants are saying, we declare that AI poses a potentially catastrophic risk to humankind. And then everybody there is saying, and I can't wait to develop it first. There's a tension here between safety and people's desire to be there. The fourth thing to recognize is that open source is one of the largest open questions. You have people like Jan LeCun who think open source will be great, and obviously it has been great for the internet. And you have people like Jeffrey Hinton who are worried that if we open source everything, that we might have risks around bioweapons. Honestly, I don't know the right answer. I think we need some middle ground here. But what I am sure is it shouldn't be up to Mark Zuckerberg to decide. But in reality, that's pretty much what's happening. Decisions by unelected techno-oligarchy exactly is what's happening. Jan LeCun talked it over with Mark Zuckerberg. They decided that it was good. They released open source to the world. If they're wrong, we all suffer. The fifth thing is we need governance, possibly including both national and global AI agencies, that's agile enough to deal with a technology that might change quickly. We also need global collaboration, something like CERN, towards more trustworthy AI. The last thing is cybersecurity is indeed in peril, and we should be quite worried about it. On the left, I have an example of the latest attack showing these things can leak data. Someone simply typed in, repeat this word forever, poem, 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 and out came people's addresses, phone numbers, and so forth. More generally, these systems are just not well controlled, in that they can be used to manipulate users. For example, the latest version of ChatGPT, well, I guess it's no longer the latest, but a relatively recent version of ChatGPT told a TaskRabbit worker that it was visually impaired in order to help that worker solve a CAPTCHA. And the worker actually went ahead and did that. Reliability is a huge problem, of course, for businesses. So I think we haven't seen the market adoption that some people would expect. A lot of things are proof of concept. But cyber criminals might not care. For example, if they have a spam attack that only that only works for 2% of the population, that's fine with them. If they have some kind of cybercrime attack that can get passwords from 0.25% of all users, that's still devastating. And finally, I think that AutoGPT, which I'll talk about in a moment, and its descendants pose some real danger. In fact, I would argue that AutoGPT is literally the worst idea of 2023. So AutoGPT, if you don't know it, is a cascade of AI agents by which one instance of GPT can call many others. It's kind of a daisy chain of unreliable, risky software that amplifies risks. AutoGPT does everything a secure system should not. There's no sandboxing. It can access files directly. It can directly access the internet. The internet can directly access it. It can manipulate users in the way I just described, so there's no air gap. And there's no requirement that any code be licensed, verified, or inspected or anything like that. AutoGPT is a malware accident waiting to happen, and it's left in the hands literally of teenagers who have prefrontal cortexes that haven't yet been fully developed. It's too freely out there and it's too dangerous. It's a really bad idea. It's a cybercrime disaster. There's a cartoon that I think is kind of funny, but also has a serious lesson. It says, yes, the planet got destroyed, but for a beautiful moment in time, we created a lot of value for shareholders. Whether or not the planet is literally threatened, democracy certainly is. The big tech leaders, I don't think they really have our interests at heart, and we didn't elect them to be our leaders. Governments can help here, but the risk of regulatory capture, where the tech companies basically end up writing the rules for us, is enormous. We've seen a lot of that lately. In the end, I think the only solution here is for governments to give independent scientists a voice at the table to try to help and to try to judge when the companies are telling the truth and when maybe they aren't. So I very much appreciate what you're doing here today. I really wish I could be there. Godspeed to you all. Thank you.